Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, where I'm always excited to introduce the Terran player in the blue, Micro Jackson. It's ByuN. And in a matchup that could have been played at any point, really in the last 10, 12 years. Yes, in the red, Dong Regu, or DRG, for conveniently short. A best of 5. Terran versus Zerg, and oh my. Okay, well, I could go into details and draw out the introductions, but ByuN has already introduced himself. The man who has gotten Reaper's nerf not once, but twice, is going for thrice, as 3 racks Reaper to start things off in this best of 5. And if you want to see him get nerfed again, or the other way around, it'd be awesome if I could see you, like, and, well, or I can't see you. That would be weird and creepy. I'm not an overlord. But, metaphor, like and subscribe. Jimmy, what are we? 1,236 likes on this video, on this cast. And, I'll cast another series. And while ByuN is still making Mass Reaper, oh my god. I'll probably do it anyways. This is a bit disgusting. And that's probably underselling it a bit. Literally just Reapers here. He's building 1 Marine at home. Gets a grenade onto the ramp. Still hasn't lost anything. Killed 8 Zerglings and a drone. It was a 3 racks commitment. I don't think DRG actually saw that, so... but, you know, the amount of Reapers kind of gives it away in and of itself, so... I don't think DRG would be surprised. It would be surprising if he didn't realize the commitment ByuN was putting in, but... that doesn't mean you can stop it. There's no surefire way of dealing with the Reapers once they reach this number. It just comes down to control, timing, and more than a tiny amount of luck. As ByuN's Reapers are the slipperiest in the business. Slippiest? No, that's not a word. Well, has that ever stopped me before? Moving on. Still has the Reaper count. Hasn't committed entirely. He is building Stim +1. Factory behind. Second base is done. Of course, ByuN gonna follow it up with the second Terran unit. He likes to build out of the barracks, which is, of course, the Marine. Because if the Reapers can't solve it, the Marines probably can. As time goes on, combined, well, ideally with the Medivacs, it looks like he will have reactored Medivacs as the next choice to follow it up. So, ByuN, starting things off in a... I don't know if it's that we fear change as time goes on, or if it's just Terrans who do. But ByuN has been doing the same mass Reaper and or Marine micro style for over almost 2/3 of Clem's life. StarCraft 2 has been out for over 13 years. Clem is 21 years old. So pretty much, by the time Clem was technically allowed to play this rated T for teen game, ByuN had already mastered the art of abusing Marines, and then with Legacy of the Void especially, because back in Wings of Liberty, now a lot of, if someone is nostalgic for Reapers with their grenades in early Wings of Liberty, you know they were probably like a gold player, because as ByuN has shown us, the Reaper grenades, added as an active ability in Legacy of the Void, have created much more strife overall with Zergs, even though the building grenades, which I think are in campaign as well, but very tough to deal with when unprepared. The Reaper grenades are tough to deal with when you are prepared. And right now, DRG, we're going to have to ask him the question, are you prepared for Mass Reaper Marine with Medivacs in 2024? Well, here we go. Banelings, no speed, as the lair isn't even done yet. DRG managed to get out 55 drones. If he survives this onslaught, if he survives this first group of Marines and Medivacs, well, he's going to be in a pretty okay spot. But surviving this safely is going to be difficult, as +1 is already done for the Marines. The Medivacs, of course, and the grenades can potentially bounce all the Banelings away into a safer, well, or easier to target location. So, with it, here come the Lings and Banes. The Queen count is pretty damn high. ByuN doesn't have Combat Shield yet, and without it, that puts him just 1 Bane hit away. A Stim and a Bane hit. And as long as, if he doesn't get any healing from the Medivacs, it could be devastating. +1/+1 started for DRG. He's on 3 base, and he knows he has a Zergling. Yeah, Zergling over there. So he knows for sure that ByuN has not landed a 3rd base yet. All he has to do is sit back, relax. Well, maybe not relax. Relax is definitely a bit strong, but sit back and defend. I'll commit to. The Banelings are being chased down by the Reapers, which is... This is a little sad. Okay, it's a lot of sad. He just killed all the Banelings with the Reapers. I don't know why the Banelings were... He was looking for some sort of counterattack. But ByuN is starting to rack up more momentum. On top of the fact this army is so tough to deal with on its own. And he's already got... There's no 3rd command center. This is one of those very rare, less than probably 10% of games with no 3rd command center. But instead, essentially a 2-base all-in. He's got siege tanks. He's got liberators in production. He's got +1 Marines with combat shield. DRG finished Baneling speed, but 1-1 is not quite done yet for him. It might never be done. The Queens, a dozen of them. The Queen move coming together. The Baneling nest being transfused. The Banelings themselves rolling in. ByuN picks up before they're able to get a critical amount of the Marines. The Queens transfusing their way through. The Zergling counterattack is spotted, but DRG, Queens coming down. Liberators, a Venn diagram of freedom to cover the front line and wear the Banes. Does he take down the Evo Chambers in time? DRG had his Lings and Banes halfway across the map. Looks like he will finish +1 melee, but +1 Carapace was denied. But here comes the flank. Lings and Banes from both sides. Are there enough medevacs to evacuate the Marines? Yes. Well, at least the survivors. And at the end of the day, well, ByuN did a lot of damage. But DRG has more to fall back on. I don't think that was enough. The 3rd command center starts an admission that this game, well, certainly ByuN didn't take the advantage, but he's also not so desperate that he's going to go all in again. If he can keep the medevacs out of the map, DRG has a almost a compulsive tendency. These older Wings of Liberty players seem to be very set in their ways. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but DRG only will make Lings and Banes, sometimes to a fault. There's a Hydra Den, throwing that in. Whereas ByuN says, I'm going to micro Reapers and Marines, and he's throwing the tank push in, a very Wings of Liberty-esque style. We haven't seen a single Widow Mine. Maybe the Master should become the student yet again, as his protege, at least in spirit, not spirit, but Clem, has truly embraced the Widow Mine as the chaotic, usually positive addition to the army. And that is what I think ByuN is missing here. The Lings and Banes, well, siege tanks in position by those little mineral patches, backed up against it, and now he's got the double-tier tank push. Can he target down the Banelings in time? He gets them all to the southern flank. One more clutch of Banelings is rolling in. The Marines are stuck behind the mineral line, but he gets every Baneling. And suddenly ByuN is up 20 supply. The Queens are boxed into a prison of their own design. He rebuilt an Evo Chamber in the same spot. And that Evo Chamber is building +2 melee attack and may very well be taken down, but the Marine count is still too damn high. ByuN finished his 3rd command center. DRG is still sitting on 4 bases himself. But you need whatever amount of Banelings you think you need, double it. And maybe then you'll have enough. DRG got caught in a corner. The splash damage of the tanks and the target fire of the Marines, more than enough to gun down the Banelings one after another. And now we got a game, as DRG was unable to really capitalize on the supply advantage he had earlier. And now, ByuN, well, he's sitting at 48 SCVs. He's making SCVs for the first time in a while. Starts that orbital. He's going to keep working this low ground location. Will the Evo Chamber die? He's got about 15 seconds left till +2 melee. That would be a huge pickoff here. Make it that much easier to deal with the early Ling Bane. The Marines, the double-tier tank push, transfusing the Spore Crow to try to zone things out. Lings and Banes working their way around. Looks like +2 melee will complete. But what a location here. Oh, the siege tanks laying into the Banelings. They will go down, but at heavy cost. And the Queens getting popped by the Liberators there. 17 Queens have died so far. Oh my god, the monarchy decimated by the liberators of ByuN. How many did he get? He got 7 queens in that fight. Oh my god, the fact that DRG has made that many. Dozens! There are dozens of them! But, well, I'm not sure what I expected from these two, but this is about right, as they are fighting this mid-game war of attrition. ByuN only reluctantly getting his 3rd and the +2 upgrades, whereas DRG doing the same with later lair tech. He's got the Hydras, he has group spawns and muscular augments, but he hasn't even thought about an infestation pit. In fact, some might argue DRG hasn't thought about an infestation pit in half a decade. And the Lingbane, still a danger, but ByuN's critical mass of Marines has grown again. A religious objection to the Widow Mines instead focused entirely on the siege tanks of purest Terran. Of course, he's mixing in the Liberators as well, which are incredibly helpful at thinning out the anti-air. Oh, the Marines, though. Looking the other way, and this time, 2 medevacs full of Marines go flinging towards the sky. Well, the surface, which I guess is also technically towards the sky, but is a bit pedantic, to be honest. Well, there's still a Reaper somehow, even throws a grenade, but the Marines are jammed into the back corner. There's no way, and they'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. Oh, so many more Marines surrounded and slaughtered. And that time, well, DRG definitely got the better end of things. With 4 medevacs in total, and several dozen Marines, and even DRG looks up in his Prima strategy guide. How do I play late game? He sees an Ultralisk and he remembers the Hive. You know what? I bet DRG goes Ultras. All right, maybe a Viper or 2, but probably just Ultras. Well, that's assuming we get to a Hive here. ByuN still has a huge amount of supply. He's got 60 Marines on the field. He's lifting his main command center towards a 4th. Such an old school matchup here. The Liberators, well, if you remove the Liberators, it's about as old as you can get, as everything else is a Wings of Liberty unit. The Marines, but the Banelings close in. ByuN missed a shot. And now he's going to be missing about 10 more Marines. It is a tenuous time here. The Hydras, the Lings, the Banes, the tanks are not sieged, but the Marines are using them as cover. The Banelings are rolling in, but ByuN stands his ground. At the end of the day, the blood scattered across the sand, and the Hydras are driven back. DRG loses so much. The tanks tanking the damage there. Finally fulfilling their descriptive role. Yeah, ByuN. He killed 86 Zerglings and 17 Banelings. He did lose 4 siege tanks, but he's building more and more at a time. God, the commitment to siege tanks is impressive. And DRG is behind. He's 150 to 143. He's trying to catch the army. Already got a concave set up, but right now, ByuN. And taking that kind of pseudo 4th base. Well, here comes DRG. Thinking twice about coming down the ramp in the siege tanks. ByuN sieges up a Liberator. Knows there are Hydras out there, so he's trying to keep it in that back corner. Hydras show up, but nothing to be done about it right now. So many Marines. 72 Marines on the field. More Marines, maybe not than Zerglings and Banelings combined, but it's pretty close. And the siege tanks as well. Siege tank Marine push against Hydra Ling Bane. Adrenal Glands is on the way, but DRG has not been able to find a decisive engagement. He built 1 Viper, he's got a few Infestors, but here comes ByuN. The split is so good, I can't believe it's not butter. And with so many Marines, he just started +3. But he doesn't need an upgrade advantage with this much firepower. God, the Banelings are retreating, as he knows ByuN has enough damage to whittle down the Zerglings, but I feel like, oh, he's trying to wait for the Infestors. The Infestors, he's running away. ByuN, the Fungals aren't quite there. He catches some of the medevacs, and DRG might be able to turn it around at the end, but the Marine count is still so damn high. DRG at the last possible moment catches many of these medevacs. There's barely any Marines not in medevacs right now. But without any more banelings, DRG is going to be driven back yet again. The Marines are stepping forward. Neither player. They're both going just a few steps too far and getting their legs hacked out from under them. Oh my, a bloodbath on Oceanborn, which is a convenient place to have it, but both players, I don't think either player has maxed out this entire game. We're dead even at 142 apiece. Adrenal glands about to complete a huge damage upgrade for any Zerglings that survive long enough to get attacks off. And ByuN, I don't think DRG realizes how few command centers he has, as that is the main command center at the 4th base here. So ByuN's economy, DRG has had somewhat more. Not a huge income lead there, but the Infestor's really helping out. The Infestor's turning the tides. But there's still so many Marines. The medevacs are nearly out of energy. The Infestor count is down to 3, doing his best Cyril impression there with some of the burrow. But DRG has not been able to keep up the level of production. Well, there's one Viper. Once a blinding cloud gets it, doesn't have enough energy for a second one, yanks in the tank, but the tank is still tanking a lot of damage. And those banelings, the tank flank via the Viper, ends up actually being a potentially game-winning move. He literally yanked a tank and ate all of his banelings rolled right into it. DRG, a disastrous engagement, and ByuN stays the course. The Marines cut their way through. And, well, that is exactly on, like, AI scripted what I expected to see from DRG versus ByuN, and I am not disappointed, as DRG only dips his toe into Hive Tech, where instead just stays in the spawning pool otherwise, whereas ByuN makes Marines. And then he followed that up with a pretty crazy strategy I like to call more Marines. Game 2. ByuN switching it up, going to delay his Marines slightly by getting a command center first. God. I think nowadays, in current year, as Zerg, you simply can't rely on the sheer unit count you could in the past. Especially in years past. Terran players, ByuN very much included, are just too good at trading efficiently. Even if the banelings get hits, banelings can only attack once. So, even trading for a couple Marines is usually worth it. Eventually you do need either things like those Infestors, Lurkers. Occasionally you get the Ultras. It kind of depends on the situation. Ultras are more of a tempo advantage. Like, for example, if ByuN was denied, or if ByuN lost a big fight with those early banelings, and he kind of did, or he ended up getting pushed off a 4th base, then the Ultras are great as a closer. If they can be fighting on the other side of the map when your back is against a wall, and the Ghosts either don't exist or don't really have time to line up their shots, the Ultras are a great finishing move. But as a unit, that just they're not going to save you, but they may help you finish the game. Whereas Marines will keep you alive. And thankfully for ByuN, DRG didn't really go too deep into that Hive Tech and ends up suffering dramatically for it. Ah, yes, it looks like ByuN gonna try something new, which is not bothering with medevacs or Reapers, and instead, Marines. 4 racks Marine after command center first. We've seen this strategy a few times before, specifically on this map. But as you saw last game, that doesn't necessarily make it less dangerous. It's gonna come down to whether DRG cuts his drone production and starts building, well, enough units and defenses by the time this is coming across the map. Because if you get too greedy, obviously you just die. but if you're not greedy enough, eventually they'll grind you down in a war of attrition. Really, the thing that counters this most is a Baneling speed rush. But DRG does not have any gas, so he's just started mining it this moment. He also went for a quick economy build. He got his third base up near immediately. So, is focused on that mineral production. I'm sure with the Overlord, he saw it was indeed a command center first, so he knows. ByuN. Stim, Combat Shield, and Marines. That is the entire production tab. Which, at least ByuN stays on brand. A factory now, begrudgingly built. Medevacs are a big part of Gold Marines, eventually. Baneling Nest is on the way for DRG. Does his Overlord? Yeah, his Overlord sees the Marines. Does he pull the boys? No. Engineering Bay on the way. But here we go. Wandering his way out. Both sides know what's happening. It just comes down to how much ByuN is able to get done. No +1, just Stim and Combat Shield. This army is not going to get too much better as time goes on, so... ByuN just going to go deeper. Hits the Stims! And the Baneling Nest just finished. He might be able to... I don't think it's worth the time. He's going to try to chase down the Queens. There's not that much energy on them. A lot of Zerglings being built. He's using the ramp Stims again. And, well, the Zerglings are whittling it down, and the Queens are helping out a lot. 25 Marines for 33 Zerglings and only 1 Queen. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it was worth it. Both in terms of the timing in the game, like, if DRG was forced to keep his economy so low that ByuN could hit him with a follow-up, but... DRG has enough drones, he has the bases, he has a Bane Nest done. I don't think that did quite enough. And there's no real kicker to this. There's no medevacs, there's no counter damage. There's a lair on the way, and I think DRG smartly kind of mass expanding. As, realizing that the Marines can only be in so many places at once, especially without medevacs. The first 2 coming out now, but ByuN has kind of made his own bed here. We'll see if he's able to stim his way out of it. Well, there the Marines. Stims immediately. The medevacs show up. Which, without Bane speed, gonna be still very hard to actually fight here. The Banelings, he gets the cancel, and he gets out with all the Marines into the main. And the medevacs will continue forward. The Zerglings looking to overrun, but... that Queen... Ladies! It's time! Sorry. The creep is re-spreading ByuN, taking down Overlords, but again, well, he does have a third command center. This time, a little bit more quickly in the grand scheme of things. I don't know if literally, but in terms of the state of the game. But at the same time, DRG is going to have 1-1. He's going to have Bane speed. Oh, guns down. The only Queen, I think, with energy for transfuse. Oh, no! Oh, no! Regicide! He kills... like 6 Queens, loses 1 7! Oh my. There can only be 1! Oh, there's 3 Queens in total left on the map. Wow, that was a lot of damage. The Marines are forced to retreat again. Only the tanks here, but the tanks finding great hits onto the Banelings. And DRG losing a lot of supply again, finding it very difficult to fight ByuN's Marines in any sort of cost-efficient way, or really any way at all. It feels like somehow ByuN eventually finds those fights. DRG still has 4 bases, and ByuN is struggling to get his 3rd. A single Zergling is making it uncomfortable, and there's really not that many SCVs. But DRG's only at 63 drones. He does not have an infestation pit. He just finished up a Hydra Den. The creep spread is lackluster. But after losing, well, an entire monarchy of queens, it's gonna be kind of difficult to replace that, especially when you're going for Ling Bane. Just such a larva-intensive unit composition, trying to gun down another queen. She lives for now, but one Marine drops out and guns her down. And, you know, just walks there. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. Oh, my. Wow. Pretty hardcore there. Jumps out, kills the queen, leaves him behind as a scapegoat. ByuN. Cold. Another medevac. He's now adding in Marauders and Mines. The 2 M's that make the M&M composition. In total, then that's 4 M's. So, you got it. All right, moving on. Siege tanks all over the field, but he's mixing in the mines. And DRG, we'll see if he's ready. Infestation pit is on the way, but not a particularly quick one indeed. 82 drones. This is about as good an economy as you can ever wish for as Zerg. And he's even building more. He's at 90 drones. He needs as many units as possible. And by that I mean, for the most part, Banelings. Because the Zerglings are not getting the job done. Big Ling Bane counterattack. Rocks in the center of the map distracting ByuN's army. What? The Lings of Bane. I guess there were some siege tanks there that caused him to turn around. Meanwhile, surrounding some of the Marines to the north side. ByuN, a concave on those rocks. Hive begins, but ByuN will have an opportunity here to potentially fight at 200 supply against a Zerg army that's still on layer tech. As DRG made the same arguable mistake again of staying too low tech against a very efficient Terran army composition. Oh my, this Marine's getting left behind. Oh no. Well, dodges one Widow Mine, but another one in the bushes here. A whole bunch of Lings and Banes. That's so many Zerglings. He's got 140 Zerglings and 60 Banes. And a big chunk of them just went down to a mine. And another chunk. But isn't enough. There's still dozens of Banes rolling through. ByuN has damage on the other side of the map, but the field runs red with the blood on both sides. But mostly the Zerg survive. A Widow Mine's helping to clean up the counterattack. Looks like one base will go down to the drops. And the Marines will be able to clean things up, but 86 to 40 workers left over. And DRG has already expanded to both of the north side bases. So his income, well, that tells the story better than I could. The income shooting upwards for DRG, whereas ByuN struggling to recover. Just the sheer number of Zerglings and Banelings, and he lost about 100 Lings and Banes, I think, pretty much before engaging the Terran army, which makes it good that he had about 100 more left over. Even Banelings hitting rocks. DRG realizing maybe I shouldn't do that, just gives up on the idea and pretends it never happened. Classic. There's still Widow Mines in the center of the map, though. How many of these? 18 kills. Both of them. 18, 16 kills. Embracing the mines. The Lords of Chaos. DRG. Oh, but ByuN isn't looking, and all the mines are trying to burrow, but he can eat. Oh, no, no, no. DRG, what have you done? Oh, my God. He didn't get the DRG. It's a disaster for both sides. This is an absolute massacre. And it looks like ByuN is still going to be cleaned up. But oh my God, those mines got way too much done. Oh my God. Another few dozen, almost 100 Zerglings down. Didn't quite get the attack move off. Both players looking the wrong way. But DRG still has 85 drones. And ByuN only at 45 SCVs, just can't keep up the level of production. DRG understands that quantity is a quality all its own. And in a incredibly costly endeavor, he's lost 5,000 more minerals and double the gas here. But ByuN is forced to lift his main command center again. He's building 13 Marines and 2 mines at a time. He's got 3 in production, but adrenal glands are done. Is done? Either way. Are there any infestors? No, but Vipers are out. 3 on the way for both sides, but ByuN's about to finish +3 infantry weapons. Widowmine's found another hit. The SCV's on the run. About a third of all the SCV's on the map there. And, well, 66 Marines. ByuN still has a massive amount of army supply. DRG is maxed out at 113 army supply, and he can't make any more because he has 85 drones. Oh no, not again. Okay, he splits off. He saw it. It's pretty easy to spot on this map on the open field because it's just the high contrast there. The Widow Mine, gonna get a hit, but that's not nearly enough. Blinding Cloud, trying to force the Marines away, doing an okay job. The Vipers are taken out. Textbook splits from ByuN, but the SCVs are forced back. ByuN loses 8 SCVs. He keeps many of his Marines alive. But there are just too many Zerg. And Baneling's rolling in, the Hydras as well, and ByuN is overrun as DRG just mauls him to death. God. No. We got 400 Zerglings in 15 minutes, 60 Banlings, and those are just the ones that didn't attack. Oh my God. Bloodbath. Carnage. Butchery. Neither player giving an inch. In fact, overstepping several. I want to point out, DRG is using the Cyril portrait. So it's good to have inspiration loading into the game. ByuN is using the Kaczynski portrait, which is the default one, but also an SCV. I think Kaczynski's an SCV, right? Or close enough to one. Well, I guess the SCV is the vehicle, but he like pilots it. It doesn't matter. You got he's like an engineer type of. So ByuN has lost 100% of the games that he didn't go Mass Reaper to start. Not a huge sample size. Sample size right now really only as large as the amount of times I've begged you for likes and subscribes, but still, every single game he's gone Reaper. And it's not so much about the damage the initial Reapers do, as about kind of controlling the momentum of the game. And when you go for the Mass Marines, you might be able to deal deadly damage early, but the Marines are not getting away. That first attack, so there are 2 options. Either you win the game outright, or the Marines die. It's just a matter of how much they get done. Just essentially a fancier Baneling, or less fancy Baneling. I'm not sure what you'd qualify it as. But Marines on a suicide mission indeed. ByuN. Alright, poking, prodding. As he does. Is he preempting? I think he was preempting the queen intentionally there, but no creep tumor first, not gonna attempt it. No third base for DRG. Rushing Zergling speed in order to hopefully deal with these Reapers, but he should realize soon it isn't going to. Oh my God, the perfect Brenda bounce there. Gets both. And the queens do not like to be reminded that they cannot fly anymore. Which is why they are upset about the grenades. And also that they might die. But mostly the first thing. And a 3rd command center for ByuN. Slowly but surely working his way into more standard builds. Gets both creep tumors. Oncologist ByuN. Zergling speed is not done. I don't know what DRG is doing out here. He's trying to time out the Ling speed, but he's gonna lose a critical mass. Oh no! ByuN he killed the Lings, he got both creep tumors, he's damaged the Queen. DRG rushed Zergling speed in order to try to deal with the Reapers. And then he just lost his Zerglings! Oh my... Which is not, in my opinion, how you're supposed to handle that. But, oh my god, more Zerglings dying. DRG losing track of things. ByuN following it up with... Marines. Well, he does have Hellions as well, so, you know, not just... For the first time, maybe in this series, seeing a mech unit that isn't just to... Well, it's still to support the Marines, but... I guess just the first Hellions. No Cyclones, but now Hellions. Thankfully for ByuN, he was able to keep the Zerglings at bay. He is on the side of the map where the tech lab is potentially exposed. Not that I think a critical mass of Zerglings was going to be coming across with that sort of Reaper control. But honestly, a rough start for DRG, and these are the kind of things that can spiral quickly. And this time around, oh my god, he's doing a Hellbat push. That may very well be a deadly choice. Against DRG, who's... Oh, he got supply blocked from his scouting OV going down. Oh, no, no, no. This is very bad. He only has 8 Zerglings. Even if that turns... Oh, he's making even more OVs. Those are panic overlords. You make the first round because you're supply blocked, and then you realize, oh god, I really need units. And you make another round because you're still supply blocked. And now... Oh, no. Does he just die? He saw a third CC, but ByuN is actually doing a potentially game-ending pressure here. Well... Well, he took his sweet time more from those Hellbats. The Banelings are going to complete, but the Reapers may already get one. And the grenades could be very helpful here. Hellbats can tank a lot of the Baneling hits, and ByuN just turns... Okay, well... There was enough here that if ByuN had just gone the moment he showed up, when DRG had no Banelings and only 8 Zerglings, but there's no way for ByuN to know that DRG was so supply blocked and he wouldn't have any units. Alright, we have that unique perspective here. Given DRG the benefit of the doubt, saying you're probably not supply blocked and about to die, so I'm going to take it a little bit slower here. And, well... Unfortunately for ByuN, that means DRG built more than enough units to drive this back. He has 68 drones. I think he's trying to do that little area, the Reaper Cliff there. Not the Purgatory. No, Brenda, where are you going? No! What are you doing? Why are we off creep, Terran? I don't... Just trust me. Why don't you trust anyone? Come on, have some faith. I don't... Sorry, I blacked out for a second. DRG 64 drones. ByuN does have a third base on location for the first time before the 7-minute mark in this series. Hydralisk Den's on the way. 1-1 for both sides. I think DRG has a slight edge, but about the same for both players here. 1,000 APM just casually. Both players. Nearly 1,000 APM total, or average between these two as well. Only gonna go up as the game progresses. That Massling Bane. The grenades. Trying to work his way through. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Banelings don't quite have speed yet. In fact, it's still quite far off, but ByuN getting surrounded. He's the one. Oh, Metavacs go down. ByuN taking L's on both sides here. And right now, DRG again in a position with pretty solid map control. Starts as 2-2. Let's see if ByuN should remember he has the armory, as he's already started plating for his mech. And what do we have here? Another command center indeed, with a little bit of a chew toy depot in front. A 4th command center for maybe the... Is that the first time? Yes, he's not going to be floating his main. He's decided to return to sanity somewhat, at least for now, but not so much that's going to stop him from microing. Oh, no! Oh, my. Well, all the Marines die there. Don't worry. It's not about how many Marines you lose. It's about how many you have to replace them. And with 8 barracks, how many with reactors? 7 reactors. He can build 15 Marines at a time, assuming he's got the money for it. As these reactors come online. That's a ridiculous... Pumping out over 30 Marines a minute. Let alone everything else. Oh my god. Yep, there it is. That is a lot of firepower. And DRG is once again taking his sweet, sweet time getting anywhere remotely close to a hive. No infestation pit, just pumping out the Hydras, Lings, and Banes, which can work, but ByuN has fought this war of attrition before. We'll see if he succeeds in fighting it again. The Widowmine not able to fire, but the one in the back gets a chunk. Hiding in the bushes there. DRG gets the infestation pit. Never before like the 9-minute mark. Nope. Just a nice leisurely timing. We'll see if it ends up costing him. He hasn't had a lot of success with the hive tag. I mean, Viper's always good. Adrenal glands is great. 3-3 is, of course, important when you're fighting against such a cost-effective Terran army. Rocks, sorry, it looks so weird. Rocks being taken down. 2-2, about to complete for DRG. Not too far off for ByuN. I don't think DRG is going to find a decisive fight before that. Maybe. He's heading in towards the third. ByuN, not looking. Loses a bunch of Marines, forced to lift up the rest. Drilling claws, potentially vulnerable. That'd be a big pickoff there, and he's going to get it. It's denied, and the Widowmines are going to struggle. 11 SCVs down. DRG have 40 supply in that tiny window before 2-2 is done, but I guess it doesn't matter when you're blindsided by the Banelings. And just like that, DRG into another mineral line. ByuN gonna lose 30-something SCVs. Down 50 supply. And DRG, oh my god. ByuN just taps out. DRG comes swinging in with a knockout blow. An overwhelming amount of Lings and Banes. An absolute disaster for the Korean Terran. And now match point for Dong Regu. Wow, classic. It's weird. We don't see too many games like that nowadays. I will say, I may be watching a little too much Clem, who never seems to miss, well, really anything. But ByuN caught off guard, and DRG taking full and lethal advantage of it. All right, going into game 4. In the bottom right, in the red, it's DRG, and with 2 barracks, of course, it's ByuN. Now 50-50 with the Reapers. I don't know if I'd call that game Mass Reaper. This one, though, certainly will be. 3 racks, yet again. He's like, you know what the issue was? I didn't build enough Reapers. I feel like ByuN diagnoses most problems like that. He's like, did I build Mass Reaper? No? Well, that was the problem. Did I build Mass Reaper and lose? Well, I didn't micro well enough. And it just goes in a circle. All right, here we go again. First Reaper out. DRG is going for the quick Zergling speed. He's not trying to get his third up beforehand. Just focused entirely on making sure he has Ling speed done. Zerglings will try to throw themselves in front of the Reaper without taking too much damage in order to protect the drones, as is customary. Queen pops out, but Brenda bounce, but DRG dodges with a sport. He's not done, though. Oh my god. Whose base is it anyways? ByuN has no respect. heading in towards the main. There are Zerglings in place. ByuN knows about that possibility. Gonna just revolving door. Some grenades actually kills a Ling there. Gonna rotate around again. Creep is very important to have. It's something that he's kind of lacking. The Reapers, the grenades, creep on the ramp there. I don't think ByuN realized it. I don't know if he can go for it here, but that's the 4th Reaper. And if he didn't know before, he should know now. That this is, oh my god, just bouncing the queens around left, right, and center. It also interrupts their attack, and ByuN has a 3rd command center at home behind it. So it's not like he's any sort of all in with this. Engineering bay on the way. How many Reapers? 8 Reapers in total so far. Now getting a tech lab and some reactors. This will be the Marine follow-up. Zerglings. And, oh my god, he might be able to just get it. DRG does cancel. There's not enough Zerglings to surround here. 17 Zerglings is not going to kill 8 Reapers off a creep. It might not kill 1 Reaper off a creep with ByuN. The grenades. He's just going for the queens. He's trying to bait the Zerglings in. Off a creep, they can't transfuse these queens here. ByuN thinks the Zergling count may be a bit too high. Still staying close, but there's no creep. Oh my god, just going for it. Almost loses a Reaper, but not quite. Who's hunting who? Clearly here. It's ByuN hunting DRG's Lings. And, well, Stim is already on the way. +1 attack as well. ByuN's going to have a very strong follow-up. And DRG doesn't have that much economy. He doesn't have the 3rd. He doesn't have that level of production. That's the big danger, is you spend so much time dealing with the first Reapers that the follow-up is too strong and gets too much done. Well, here we are. A much stronger position than the last time we saw this group of units headed out. DRG does not have a lair. There is no medevacs, but... There are no medevacs, rather, but... There are also no banelings at the moment. DRG needs to morph some of those. Starts a lair. But banelings are required, and even then, they're not going to be enough on their own. DRG, does he have enough biomass to deal with this? Uses the Reapers. Doesn't want to bother stimming the Marines right now. Staying on the edge of the creep. DRG gonna spend some energy to respread it here. That choke point. This is why DRG was trying to take down the rocks. As right now he's caught between a rock and a hard place. A lot of energy being spent on the queens, which usually isn't that relevant. But in this particular case, when 1 or 2 transfuses could make or break the defense. Oh my god. ByuN almost loses his first unit, but the Reaper survives. Tanks on the way. God, those Reapers. They heal in 2 different ways now with the medevacs and the passive healing. And ByuN will lose a unit eventually. I can almost guarantee you. And here come the Lings and Banes, but still. ByuN. Oh my. And there we go. Wait. He lost. Okay, a medevac's a pretty big unit. And then all those Marines. Well, that escalated and then de-escalated very quickly in the case of the medevac. As, yeah, losing 15 Marines and oh my. Well, that went from a great position to a disaster in about 2 banelings for ByuN. As he didn't quite have combat shield done, and the medevac strayed a little bit too close to the queens, who were more than happy to take their revenge after all of this poking and prodding. And right now, DRG has to wait out baneling speed, but otherwise has stabilized here. He's got, oh my god, that is a disgusting tank position. Oh my, he's jammed into those minerals. Well, I take it all back. The Reaper's on the high ground as well. He can bounce things away, not that he even needs to bother. The Lings and Banes. Is he just gonna counter? ByuN's on 2 base. Well, alright, here come the Lings and Banes, but look at those Banes. Just evaporating. He can't get behind that mineral line. ByuN gunned down 60 Zerglings and 20 Banes before they could even get close. This tank positioning is absolutely devastating, and now the Marines taking full advantage of it. The hatchery is nearly dead. Queens getting pounded into oblivion. 1-1 is done, but so is the 3rd base for DRG. I could have sworn ByuN had a 3rd command center. Am I crazy? It's possible. But, God, now I don't know how you deal with this. The tank's still finding a nasty position, making it very hard for the Lings and Banes to close the distance. Once they get entrenched like that, you really need either a lucky break or overwhelming force, and right now DRG not finding either. The tanks just locking on to the Banelings with ByuN's control and knocking them out. He's shift killing those Banelings now. There's no question in my mind, no doubt on that target fire there. Banelings just evaporating with waves of tank fire. And now DRG, with a worse army than he had before, has to deal with more siege tanks. The Marines saved at the last moment. Gets 1 tank, but at what cost? DRG down to 100 supply. ByuN, yeah, just pummeling him right now. The siege tank Marine follow-up, that tank position was absolutely impeccable. And with it, ByuN brings us to game number 5. What a series. What an old school experience here. These old school players. ByuN finding that beautiful spot after the Reapers just constantly poking and prodding. He did slip on that first medevac attack, just making it all the more dramatic. But game 5, Reapers, proxy, or straight up standard macro? Take your guesses. As we load, Jimmy, get your likes and subscribes together before the final match of ByuN versus DRG. This match, I believe, decides who is guaranteed a spot at the IEM Katowice 2024 tournament. One of the largest, if not the largest tournament of the year. $400,000 or $500,000. $500,000? I don't know if it's $400,000 or $500,000. It's pretty good. Pretty decent amount of money on the line. So, and now it all comes down to one game. It's going to be it's a 1 Rax expand actually. And he goes Marine first for the first time with everything on the line. ByuN skips the Reapers. I guess he did go on Site Delta. He went just Mass Marine after a command center first, but that was kind of different. So. There is part of the benefit of watching essentially every series that isn't Clem versus Cyril. His mistakes will be made, which makes it a lot harder to predict exactly how the games are going to end. And with these two, such volatile unit compositions, Mass Marine versus Mass Ling Bane, those split-second decisions on either side make all the difference. The fact that DRG was unable to close the distance on the tanks quite in time. ByuN, though, losing medevacs, looking the other way for a split second. Game is fast and punishing, as I'm sure most of you who stopped playing, at least in any serious manner, at least half a decade ago know. But still, so good to watch. Banshee with cloak at the tech lab in the front of the base. The most obvious cloak, so flamboyant, swirling it around. Doing some push-ups on the factory there. Not sure. I think he's looking to switch it up with the barracks, but the barracks wasn't quite done with its tech lab yet. Kind of awkward. Now he's building Hellions out of it. Not sure. Oh, ByuN just runs by. Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my god! What year is it? You can't just do that! Terrans aren't supposed to do this. He kills 7 drones so far. And that might be the end of it. The Queen's now, well, he may get a couple more, but the damage has been done. And this is critical timing. This is one of those, the threat of running by with Hellions is usually enough, but he gets in and he kills drones at such a critical time. There's less than 40 drones on the field. Now he has to kill his own drones in building spore crawlers. So DRG has been hamstrung here. But there is no third command center for ByuN. So once again, well, losing 2 more drones. Wow. What a nostalgic sort of series this has been. Watching DRG dying to ByuN Hellion Banshee. Oh my god, what year is it? I mean, he's not dead. But I can tell you, I'm 1/3 Zerg myself. This feels horrible. Because right now, you know, well, he's lost so many drones and he has to replace them. He has no choice. You can't do counter damage against this. Can maybe try to, maybe the door's open? I doubt it. The Banshees just continue poking and prodding from both sides. But less than 50 workers is a struggle. And until the lair is done, you can't even reliably spread creep because the Cloaked Banshees could potentially kill the Queens. But the Banshees did run out of energy, so DRG will have a slight opportunity here to spread the creep out, at least for now. And that's, well, that's something. I'm sure ByuN hasn't... He's building a Reaper. That might be Reflex. Can't go without a Reaper. But he's building Marines, Medivacs. He's got siege tanks already on the way. 4th hatchery here for DRG. Here come the Marines. DRG is at the watchtower in the center of the map, so we will see it coming. But can he stop it? Main speed just started. Pretty quick upgrade. But yeah, he's got the drones now. All he needs to do, and this is a lot easier to say than to do, all he needs to do is live. The Cloaked Banshees will be able to pick off any sort of flank here, as long as they're in position. So, very hard to get a surround on this sort of army, at least at this stage of the game. ByuN, not quite done with Combat Shield yet, but he will have the +1 attack for the Marines, which is a huge damage boost, especially considering DRG doesn't have any upgrades himself. He finds any little corner and tucks his tank into it. Anything that reduces the surface area and increases the chances of being able to get those massive hits on the Banelings. Don't be surprised if ByuN, yeah, he just works. He's going to use that mineral wall. And while technically DRG oh my god. He could use the tanks to wall it off itself. Just a tiny little funnel there. Oh my god. Terran, more like Terran. The Queen's getting gunned down. Ground to a pulp by bullets and siege tanks. A huge counterattack. DRG, though, is distracted by this at the front. His Lings and Banes not doing anything here. I wonder if ByuN realizes there's a... DRG just decides against it. He needs to deal with this now, otherwise the damage is going to continue racking up. DRG has not lost the base, so at least he has that going for him. But there's siege tanks at the front. I think ByuN, yeah, he realizes, pulls the tanks back. Down goes the mine, but there's only one Baneling left. The Marines will hold their ground, and the SCVs are pulled off the line. A double drop gonna work its way through the 4th. The first attack gonna take out the 3rd. ByuN will hold the main, and the Banshees are working through the natural. And then game number 5, ByuN unleashes everything at once. He's gonna gun down the queens. He's gonna take down the Zerglings. DRG has nothing left to retreat to. Most of his units are on the other side of the map. The overlords are popped out of the sky. Infantry armor level 1 is done. Not that he needs it. A desperate counterattack. There is no wall. Oh my god. But there's still so many Marines. Another hatchery down. He didn't actually take out the fort. DRG is starting to work through the economy. There's still something of a game on our hands, but he's gonna need to stop the Marines somehow. And right now, there's no Banelings to do it. ByuN takes it in 5. Oh my, the tank pushes all come together. A comprehensive demonstration there to cap things off, but ByuN does end up closing it out.
It's about time.
A roller coaster series, but an emotional and momentum-based Terran versus Zerg. That definitely a blood pressure raiser. At the end of the day, ByuN holds on, and he will be joining us at Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it made your day a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. And checking out recommended, suggested videos, those on the sidebar, that actually helps out a ton. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.